Hello, my name is Jam McManus. I'm from Ireland and I'm psyched to be part of Everest Class 2026.
Why are you here, Jam?
What am I doing here? I'm attempting to climb Lhotse without supplementary oxygen. That's why I'm here.
And it's more than that though too, right? You're doing it unsupported?
No, I'm unsupported of my rotations, and then for the summit push I'm going to take a Sherpa with me because just to have him there on oxygen and carrying a spare bottle for me should I need it. I'm just a little bit conscious of going hypoxic and falling asleep up there. So my style is like I'm going to carry my own tent, cook all my own food, do everything, but just to have that little almost angel with me there in the case that my brain does slow down. That's really a dangerous part of the trip for me. So kind of de-risking it, but still doing it in a nice style.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, what led you to make that decision? I think, climbing without O's is kind of in fashion right now. A lot of people are pushing it. I don't know if everyone's as thoughtful as you are about it. Tell us about, your thought process, maybe experience on previous peaks. Like, what led you to that strategy?
Yeah, so I work as a mountain guide. I have a guiding agency in Ireland called Earth's Edge. So I've always worked in the mountains. And then in the pandemic, I wasn't able to do international trips. So I got really fit. I did this massive ultra marathon in Ireland. And then I was like, okay, how can I marry that level of fitness with my professional experience? And I was like, I want to try and do Everest without oxygen. So I came out here a little bit overconfident in 2022, tried it, didn't make it. And then over the last 3 following seasons, I also attempted 8,000 meter peaks without oxygen and failed 4 times in total now. So Everest, then Dhaulagiri, Lhotse, and Makalu last year. Various different things, but on Makalu last year, I went to 8,300 meters. Everything went perfectly on the expedition. I just wasn't strong enough. So my preparation has to go to another level in this last kind of 10 months, and that's been really cool. I've had to make some big lifestyle changes and become more of an athlete, and that's really why I like it. I don't have any desire to conquer a mountain. I really respect the mountains. I just love the process of training and preparing for this thing, and I love how hard it is. I respect anyone climbing a mountain in any style as long as they're honest, but climbing an 8,000 meter peak on oxygen wouldn't be meaningful for me.
Right on.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about, what you're doing differently, even just like the little technical bits that you've learned on those previous expeditions that you're applying to this trip on Lhotse.
Yeah, so in Everest in 22, I suffered from cumulative fatigue. So I carried too much weight and I did too many rotations. So when I went for my summit push, my body was just finished. It took me 3 or 4 months to figure that out with coaches because cumulative fatigue is really hard to see. Then in Dhaulagiri, I just had bad weather. I didn't really learn anything. I was just like left that base camp. It's like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be alive. It was crazy. And then on Lhotse in 24, originally I planned to go to Everest on the north side with Arne Kostner, a friend of yours, as you know. And eventually came over here when we couldn't get visas, and I ended up being 55 days on the mountain. And between my last rotation, the summit push, I got an upper respiratory infection here. So then on Makalu last year, I slowed my pace down, carried less weight, and went for summit after 22 days. So it went really good. My 22nd day at altitude, but on the summit push, I just wasn't strong enough. And that was really cool because it required a lot of personal growth. I had to really look at my diet, lifestyle, all the prep, how specific I was with my training, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if all the uncontrollable things line up, which is a big if, I'm definitely a stronger athlete this season. So I should make Lhotse because I turned around within 160 meters at the top of Makalu last year.
Yeah.
So but the beautiful thing about climbing without O's is that the margins are really, really small. Like they do test you to the absolute limit, and I love that.
Yeah. And what about mental toughness?
Yeah, that's a big question. I think from a mental toughness perspective, I think for mountaineers, it's important to know yourself and how you tick. Like for me, it's not the mental toughness side is in me. What I have a problem with is knowing when to turn around. I especially in that dangerous environment. But like, I mean, for someone no experience of this type of mountaineering, you know, things like resilience and grit are a given. You need to be massively driven. But what I would say is, like, on social media, as you guys know, like, we like to hype that big day. But on climbing without O's, it's much more important what you're doing for the other 364 days of the year.
Yeah.
And you're disciplined to consistently do the right thing all the time. That is what makes the difference, rather than this kind of hero moment on the summit. That's a load of BS for me, to be honest. Yeah.
No, I really appreciate that perspective.
Yeah.
You said you had a hard time knowing when to turn around. Does that mean you've been turning around too early, or does that mean that you are tempted to turn around too late?
Yeah, so like, it's kind of embarrassing if you're working as a mountain guide, but what I would say, like last year on Makalu, like, I can't describe the feeling of becoming that hypoxic. Like, it's like you're totally intoxicated, not drunk, like completely intoxicated. And last year I was climbing with a Sherpa on the summit push, and he was ahead of me, and I pushed it probably a couple of hours too far, and I actually hallucinated and fell asleep on the fixed line. So if he wasn't there with me, I would have died. Now, I didn't do that from a perspective of being macho and wanting to get the summit from over my life, but you just God, I'm kind of rambling now, guys. But I suppose, yeah, that would be when I'm like managing my mental state. It's like, you know, I need to turn around a little sooner than I would naturally want to, if that makes sense. But the issue with climbing without O's is your margin for error is so small, so you do have to push it pretty far into the pain cave, like, so. Yeah,
that's just a given.
Yeah, it's a given. Yeah.
And so like, for a lot of our audience are people who, you know, aren't mountaineers themselves, right? So can you just paint a picture of what that process was like for you on Makalu? What's it like when you're going hypoxic? Like, from what I've understood, and correct me if I'm wrong, what the first thing that goes is like your judgment and your abilities. Like, tell me, like, how that felt for you and what led you into that experience where you almost died.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's quite silent, to be honest. It's not like this one decision. Like, you become gradually more tired and less conscious. And I think that's where to have a strong relationship with a Sherpa who can make decisions for you in that situation, it really de-risks it. But yeah, very, like, a crude way of describing that is, you know, when you're out for a night out at the end of a night, like, you've one friend who's had like 10, 12 beers, and they're convinced the way home is this way, and you're like, no, we're going home this way, you know. Yeah. So it's not a nice experience. People will have experienced it on 6,000-7,000 meter peaks, like just a slowing down of your judgment. Everything is slow. Like, my last kilometer there before I turned around took me 6 hours. Yeah. So yeah, you're just slower.
Right on.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, to me, it seems like understanding what your body does when it's hypoxic is critical to your safety as a no-O's climber. You know, do you feel like you're going to be in a better position on Lhotse, or is this kind of going into that gray zone inevitable?
No, I think I don't think it's inevitable. I think for climbing without O, like, the critical thing is your preparation and how aerobically fit you are. You need to have a very efficient heart and lungs. So a couple of things that I did on Makalu, like, I had a sleep at 7,300 meters on a rotation. That cost me a lot. And the other issue at Makalu, I wasn't able to fly down, get lower. So on this expedition here on Lhotse, I'll be going to Fariche between the first and second rotation, and then I'm planning to fly to Namche as well before my summit push. So my plan with my preparation and a little bit of on-expedition tactics is I won't need to go that deep into the well again.
Yeah.
And just be a little bit more conscious of what that red line is. And, like, I think I'd love, the ego in me would love to go completely solo, but I just think it's disrespectful to my family and my own life and the people that care for me, and potentially some of the Sherpa that would maybe need to come and help me, or, you know, I wouldn't like my body to be recovered. I'd be quite happy to stay up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, it's experience. You know, I think it's more than anything else, you build experience over time. And that's given me a lot of confidence this season.
So, you know, my last question for you and we're going to step off the mountain here for a second, is all of these no O2 climbs, all of this training you've done. I mean, it seems like this has been a major portion of your life for some time. How has that affected your personal life? In the sense, like, has it made you a happier person, a better person? Has it been the opposite? You know, are there lessons that you've learned in the mountains that you've taken off the mountains through this process?
Yeah, I think big time. I think like having not summited on Makalu and having things gone so well for me, it's really allowed me to find discipline in my training. And that's allowed me to kind of realize that, like in other aspects of my life, if I can consistently turn up and be like dogged, I can have good achievements there. Yeah, other than that, like, you know, I think everyone is different, but to try and climb a 8,000 meter peak without oxygen, you need to be a little bit cracked, as I am. And I would say, like, I kind of have like an addictive personality. So what I've learned over the years is, like, you know, it's not possible for me to calm down and relax and take it easy or go sit on a beach. So that energy has to be channeled into the right things at the right time. So be that my work or the mountains. So if I didn't have like those 8,000 meter peaks, I would need something else to find balance in my life. So
Yeah,
that's why I like it. Yeah.
right on.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And how can people follow your climb, and how can they learn more about your guiding business?
Yeah, so where I've easiest way to follow us is on Instagram. So for my climb, you can follow Jam McManus, and then my guiding company is Earth's Edge. And yeah, that'd be awesome. People to connect with me. I'd really appreciate the support.
Absolutely. We'll make sure we put it into the notes. And best of luck with your rotation tomorrow, man.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for telling so many amazing stories up here. It's been awesome following you guys too.